The time is now 5:27. All mics are hot and all audio and video are broadcast.
Not yet. I would use Tim Timoney.
Oh, he's got the power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You will. But I haven't really had the chance to talk to anybody about it, but I will do that this week, okay?
Yeah, I would like to get this going as soon as possible.
All right. All right, give me a week, I'll get it done.
Oh, look, it's a lame tie. Look at that thing.
I like this basic tie.
Hey, you know what makes that tie? You know what makes that tie? The food stains on it.
Yeah, that's right. Don't mention it. Look.
What wards is it?
Look, you'll see. Bitch next week.
I can get Rocket Johnson.
Bitch next week. He's got no socks on.
By default.
All right. Let you know.
Where's my appointed time of 5:30?
Hey, Sean, he didn't call you?
We already approved. I said often. Have an appointed time of 5:30 has arrived. I would like to call the Tuesday, August the 27th, 2024 committee to hold the order. Please join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Clerk, would you please take the roll?
Will do. Alderman Redpath.
Here.
Alderman Gregory.
Here.
Alderman Williams.
Here.
Alderman Rockford.
Here.
Alderwoman Purchase.
Here.
Alderwoman Notriano.
Here.
Alderman Carlson.
Here.
Alderwoman Connolly.
Present.
Alderman Donlin.
Here.
Alderman Hanauer.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, a quorum is present.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. I would accept the motion for the approval of the August the 13th, 2024 committee meeting minutes.
Second.
It's properly moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Madam Treasurer, would you like to present your treasury report?
Thank you, Chair.
Chuck, stop looking at her like that.
Dad.
Thank you, Chair. The Treasurer's report for the corporate fund for the month of July. The beginning balance is $51,395,627. We took in total receipts of $16,001,629. Total disbursements in the month of July totaled $13,786,000. $80,738, which left the corporate fund balance in the month of July at $53,616,518. The general fund also included $13,890,792, which was the ARPA ending balance for the month of July. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Treasurer.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to accept the treasurer's report
Second.
as submitted.
It's been properly moved in second to accept the treasury report. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next, we have ordinances remaining or tabled in committee. Is there any action on them that any alderman would like to take, or alderwoman?
Do you want me to read them?
Yes, please.
2024-089, 2024-178, 2024-239.
Do we know how long some of those have been on? Is it?
Yes, there's
what,
a
is
date.
it 6 months now or 9 months? How long do they stay on?
It's 6 months, so Aaron's will be the first one up next month to make a decision on. So,
I'll probably bring that up next week, I think.
okay,
Thank you.
thank you. No problem. So there's dates on them and they track them, so they're supposed to fall out
Thank you,
after
Chair.
6 months, yes. Okay. Now for ordinances for the committee consideration, Mr. Clerk.
CWLP 2024-309, an ordinance approving and authorizing proposal number UE 25-09 Springfield Smart City and Asset Management Program with Hanson Professional Services Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $500,000 and authorizing supplemental appropriations in the total amount of $500,000 for the Office of Public
Move
Utilities.
for consent.
Second.
Been properly moved in second to send this to consent. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2024-310, an ordinance approving a one-year contract extension and authorizing additional funding in the amount of $300,000 under contract number UE 22-06-38 byproduct hauling for Dolman Power Plant with J. Oros Environmental Incorporated in a total amount payable of $1,600,000 for the Office of Public
Move for
Utilities.
consent.
It's been properly moved in second to send this to consent. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2024-311, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of replacement parts for Unit 4's ID fans from Howden USA Company in an amount not to exceed $148,944 for the Office of Public
Move for
Utilities.
consent.
Been properly moved in second to send this to consent. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2024-312, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of support maintenance for VMware clusters for a 3-year term with Zones LLC from state contract in an amount not to exceed $367,381.26 for the Office of Public
Move for
Utilities.
consent.
Been
Second.
properly moved in second for consent. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2024-313, an ordinance authorizing the execution of an agreement with the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency to accept, execute, and supplementally appropriate the Public Water Supply Energy Efficiency Program grant in an amount of $54,000 for the Office of Public
Move for
Utilities.
consent.
Second.
Been properly moved in second for consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2024-314, an ordinance approving a telecommunications fiber capacity license agreement with Springfield Clinic, LLP, for 1025 South 6th Street and 3201 Robbins Road for the Office of Public
Move for
Utilities.
consent.
Second.
Been properly moved in second for consent agenda. Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am.
Alderman
Can
Redpath.
somebody address this? I wanted to know what the schedule is on the fiber optic stuff. Does somebody have that information? Would you get it, please? I just wanted to know when they're gonna, how they're swinging around the city, because we need it where I'm at.
This is a different deal, Chuck. That's more for TV and broadband.
Oh, that is?
Yeah,
Okay.
this is our, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair.
No problem. No, go ahead.
I misunderstood maybe what you're asking.
I believe this is just using our fiber
Right, correct.
for the.
So this
Springfield
is basically the Springfield Clinic.
So it's not the fiber optic that they're installing around the
No,
city?
this is what we provide to
Does
businesses.
somebody
in the
have any
community.
idea what that program is and how it's going? Mr. Lesko over there, do you know?
It'd be I3 and AT&T.
Would you have somebody look into that for me, please? Thank you.
You'll know when they're in your ward, trust me.
I want them in my ward.
Yeah, you get the calls.
I got the worst cable TV in the world.
All right, all right. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Public Works, 2024-315, an ordinance approving the variance request of Section 153.158B2 pertaining to access to public street for living at Westgate for the Office of Public Works.
Move for consent.
Been properly moved in second, send this on to consent. Any discussion? Seeing none and hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2024-316, an ordinance approving the site development plan for living at Westgate for the Office of Public Works.
Move for consent.
Second.
Been properly moved in second for consent agenda. Any discussion? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2024-317, a resolution for the municipality under the Illinois Highway Code pertaining to spending motor fuel tax funds on the Springfield Rail Improvement Project, MFT Section Number 20-00491-00-BR for the Office of Public Works.
Motion for consent.
Second. I'll second.
Been properly moved in second for consent. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2024-318, an ordinance authorizing a supplemental relocation expenses for the acquisition of property occupying parcel SR0089 located at 921 North 10th Street in an amount of $1,133.08 relating to the usable segment 6B of the Springfield Rail Improvement Projects for the Office of Public Works.
Motion for consent.
Second.
Been properly moved in second for consent. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2024-319, an ordinance authorizing a supplemental relocation expenses for the acquisition of property occupying parcel SR0091 located at 923 Phillips Street in an amount of $12,005.17 relating to the usable segment 6B of the Springfield Rail Improvement Projects for the Office of Public Works.
Motion for consent.
Second.
Been properly moved in second for consent. Any discussion? Hearing none, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2024-320, an ordinance accepting the lowest bid and authorizing the execution of contract number PW 25-05-15 with Traffic Control Corporation for video image vehicle tracking and detection systems in an amount not to exceed $206,250 for the Office of Public Works.
Motion for the debate.
Second.
It's been the motion has been for debate. Any discussion?
Yes.
Alderman Hanauer.
Well, I
Or
didn't hit my
Donnelly
button.
first, then Hanauer.
I didn't hit my button. I'm sorry.
Obey the rules.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just asking if one of the staff could come up and just explain what this is.
Then I don't have to talk.
It looks like it's a motion sensing system at intersections, but not certain. Hi, Director.
That is correct. These are to replace video detection systems in 5 separate locations here in the city. These are not video cameras that record images. They simply initiate the traffic control sequence. It senses that a vehicle is in the lane, and it initiates the sequence.
So, Director, I get this question quite often, and obviously the state has been ahead of us with having these types of systems throughout and around the city. And, whether they're cameras or not, and we explain what you just did. So it's essentially the same technology, right?
Exactly.
Okay, great, thank you.
And I have the 5 locations if you'd like those.
Sure,
Yeah.
why not?
Any more discussion? Well, let's just make sure we start with Ward 3 when we start putting these out. I appreciate you. Thank you.
These are going to be located at Legacy Point Drive at Imagineer Drive, South Grand Avenue at Wheeler, South Grand Avenue at Pope Avenue, South Grand Avenue at the County Health Building and the gas station there just east of Eastdale, and on Sangamon Avenue at 19th Street.
Are you just saying these things because he's the chair this evening? Is that what's going on?
4 out of 5, that ain't bad.
Well,
Appreciate you, Director.
Yes.
Thank you, David.
Alderman Gravy.
No, thank you for that explanation. Director, I thought this was related to something else, and I do change my motion to consent.
Second.
Been properly moved. We're going to put this on consent now. Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2024-321, an ordinance authorizing a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $217,500 for an unappropriated fund balance to accommodate the remaining balance due with Crawford, Murphy, and Tilley Incorporated for the design of new streets and traffic facility for the Office of Public Works.
Move for consent.
Second.
Been properly moved in second to send this to consent. Any discussion? Alderman Gregory.
No, I just like to say I'm happy to see this come forth, and it's another step forward to replacing that garage over there. I know our employees have long wanted that, and I think it's due time. So I'm happy to see this come through. Thank you.
All right, any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. 2024-322, an ordinance supplementing an agreement with Hanson Professional Services Incorporated to perform construction observation services for usable segment 3 of the Springfield Rail Improvement Projects for the Office of Public Works.
Move consent.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second to send this on the consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
General City Business, 2024-323, an ordinance to increase the number of Class C liquor licenses by one for Feast Buffet and Fun Kiddo, LLC, doing business as Feast Buffet and Fun Kiddo, located at 3125 South MacArthur Boulevard.
Motion for consent?
Second.
It's been properly moved to send this on to our consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2024-324, an ordinance authorizing acceptance of proposal under RFP CS 19-29 and execution of an agreement with American Legion Post number 809 for sale of city-owned property consisting of one parcel located at 1801 East Jackson Street in the amount of $500 for the Office of Budget and Management.
Motion for consent.
Second.
Second.
And properly moved in second to send this to consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2024-325, an ordinance authorizing acceptance of proposal under RFP CS 19-29 and execution of an agreement with Jake Gallagher for the sale of city-owned property consisting of one parcel located at 903 North 12th Street in an amount of $500 for the Office of Budget and Management.
Move to consent.
Second.
Been properly moved in second to send this on to consent. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2024-326, an ordinance authorizing acceptance of proposal under RFP CS 19-29 and execution of an agreement with Christine Smith for sale of city-owned property consisting of one parcel located at 1030 South College Street in an amount of $500 for the Office of Budget and Management.
Move for consent.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded for send this to consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'm sorry, Alderwoman Connolly.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to real quickly thank our Office of Budget and Management, our grants people who are working on getting these properties sold and off our, Kayla, I'm trying to say you. I know you've been working very hard on getting this stuff organized. You're sitting next to Amy, so I got confused. No, but I really appreciate seeing these properties move off the city's, roster and into other hands. Looking forward to seeing them become something more for the neighbors and the community where they are. So thank you for that. Thank you, Chair.
Sure, any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2024-327, an ordinance authorizing acceptance of a proposal under RFP CS 19-29 and execution of an agreement with Nathaniel Woodson for the sale of city-owned property consisting of one parcel located at 1816 South 8th Street in an amount of $500 for the Office of Budget and Management.
Move for consent.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second to send this on to consent. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2024-328, an ordinance authorizing acceptance of a proposal under RFP CS 19-29 and execution of an agreement with James Forney for sale of city-owned property consisting of three parcels located at 1018, 1020, and 1022 North Indiana Avenue in an amount of $1,500 for the Office of Budget and
Move for
Management.
consent.
Second.
Been properly moved in second to send this to consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2024-329, an ordinance amending Ordinance 348-08-22, removing the requirement of 50% escrow to the City of Springfield for owner-occupied residences for the Office of Planning and Economic Development.
Move to consent.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second to send this to the consent agenda. Any discussion? Alderman Gregory.
Yes, Director, can you explain? I thought we already did this once. Is this on a different program?
I brought the brains with me tonight.
So we did it for cannabis. This is for citywide. So this is we had to do it separately for each.
Is there any more of our programs that need,
Nope,
that
this
we
is the
know?
last one.
We were wanting to get everything consistent, so that was the reason that
All
we
right,
did it.
thank you. I appreciate you.
Any more discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2024-330, an ordinance authorizing acceptance and execution of a modification to the Illinois Department of Natural Resources, grant number MC 21-034, in an amount of $142,160 for additional funding for the Children's Museum Foundation, doing business as Kidseum, and authorizing a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $142,600 for the Office of Planning and Economic Development.
Motion for consent.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Discussion will have Alderwoman.
I just want to be marked as present for this.
Okay, noted. Mr. Clerk, present. And I had a question. Is this the regular grant that they normally get annually?
This is actually an additional funds that came from IDNR for this grant that we serve as a fiscal manager for.
Okay, thank you.
So just adding more funds so they continue their construction.
Okay, appreciate it. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2024-331, an ordinance authorizing a subrecipient agreement with Hoogland Center for the Arts for the modernization and repair of 2 elevators using Community Development Block Grant funds in an amount not to exceed $190,000 for the Office of Planning and Economic Development.
Move for consent.
Motion for debate.
Second.
Motion for debate.
Second.
Properly moved and second for debate. Any discussion?
Yes.
Alderman?
So we're giving money for elevator repair, and we have housing over on Second Street that can't get an elevator fixed. Why don't these people, why don't they qualify for this kind of stuff too? If you can explain that to me, please.
I'm sorry, for someone on
For
Second
the
Street.
Lincoln Towers.
Lincoln Towers.
Lincoln Towers that we've been talking about for years now.
Probably about 3.
Yeah.
So for our funds, they're for nonprofit organizations, like the Hoagland Center, and to get them up to ADA requirements. That's what makes it eligible for those funds.
So they
the
have to be a
federal funds.
nonprofit. Okay. You know, that's a sore subject for everybody sitting at this table. Because those poor people can't get up and down their elevators, and I wish there was a way we could find some grant money or something to help get those elevators repaired. It's a real problem.
I agree.
All right, thank you.
It'd be nice to just find the owners.
Yeah.
Any more discussion?
Yes. And we said it's for not-for-profits only?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I won't ask questions about certain businesses, but I will say, I support the Hoogland. I've approved some things to talk with them, and I support them on that, but I really, along with some others, I think we talk about housing and how much the need is. I just received a letter from a guy who has a quite significant issue with his home, and we sent him a letter and said, hey, you can't have it right now. It's not an emergency. So I think we've had this discussion before about funds, and I just found out about all of this today, right? And I know there's got to be community input and things of that nature, and I know those things are low, but they are important of where we're going to spend these funds at and things. And so I'm gonna leave it on debate for now as I think it through over the week on how I'm going to vote. But I stress the importance of community development block funding going to as much of housing as we possible. We've had other projects we switched some funds to. I would rather see something like this come out of TIF funds. That's my spiel. Thank you.
You want me to address that? Yeah. Okay, as far as for the housing that you, rehabilitation that you mentioned, it's not so much as funding as it is capacity. We have so many emergencies, people with no lights, no cooling in the hot weather. They have a hole in their roof that we're not able to get to the non-emergencies. We just don't have enough contractors or people that work in my department we're able to do that many projects. We're overwhelmed with emergencies.
Right. No, I totally understand that. But his letter stated he was eligible for the funding, and then I guess because it was an emergency, he become ineligible. So his concern was, well, why is he knocked off the list altogether just because it was deemed not an emergency? And then to the contractor point of it, I know that some of these programs allow the resident to perform the work. His particular project was electrical work. I wouldn't advise anybody who not experienced in that to do that anyway. But it's a pretty significant problem that he has as well. So I get your workload and things, but there is other avenues for them to find contractors and try to get work done. And then at that point, if they can't do it, then they see that we don't have the contractors, nor does the community have the contractors. But I think that our process has to think that way, especially when we're passing these things and we're giving out community development block funding with not a whole lot of community input in it. And no fault of our own. We're going through the process, we're posting it, and people are missing it. And that's why I encourage us to find other unique ways to make sure that the community, so we can get some feedback. So when we come with these projects, not only does the alderman know, but the community knows as well. And I think those things are important. So
Now,
thank
we're
you.
doing the best that we can. We did send them a list of defined emergencies. And then we do have other programs like the TIF, home rehab program, where they can find their own contractor. For ours, we find the contractor. So that's just something that we have to do. And as far as like them being on the waiting list for so many years, we were never going to get to them, so I didn't want it to just keep someone on a list that they were going to be on for years and years when realistically we can only deal with emergencies. So,
And we did state that if it becomes an emergency, to please call us back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Alderwoman Purchase.
Thank you. Ms. Julia, I know that Director Posey had been working on a minority contractors list too. Can we kind of combine some of them and see if your list is different from his? I'm not for sure where is he at on how many contractors we have, but I know that's been a steady issue, and that just hit a light bulb for me to say, can we work with his list too that he's
Definitely.
creating?
We always take more contractors in our departments that we link up with, so.
And what do you need to be on that list?
With just a simple application that they will fill out, years of experience, that kind of thing. And then when we have a project, we'll email them and let them come to the walkthrough, or just notify them if it's an emergency project that they can bid on.
Okay, please send that to me and I'll help push it out to the public.
I definitely will.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So you two this is pretty much the best fit. CDBG is the best fund to use for this project.
I thought it was a good fit, and it goes with the objective that we're helping out with the ADA requirements.
Okay. Thank you. Any more discussion?
Can I ask one more question? Is there what other funds would possibly qualify?
Possibly TIF funds, but that would have been at a percentage.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any balance that we have into our next award next year?
As far as CDBG funds?
Can you send me our balance where we at?
Yeah, I can tell you now they're exhausted until we get more funding next year, July.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. No more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2024-332, an ordinance authorizing Community Housing Development Organization, CHDO, subrecipient agreement 24-SR-0010 with Growth International Incorporated for the rehabilitation of property located at 218 East Lawrence, utilizing CHDO funds in an amount not to exceed $280,000 for the Office of Planning and Economic Development.
Motion for consent.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. For consent, any discussion? I just did have one question, and whoever from the department can come up with the question, please. I'm trying to understand the amount for a rehab. 280 to me is significant. Is this
Ms. Julie, I can
several-
help you too.
Yeah. The prices have went up significantly on building materials. The first estimate that we came back at over $400,000. So this is much reduced from there. It is a large home, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, and it's down to the studs. So I realize it is a large amount, but we're hoping that it comes in this low. I mean, just with the bids that we got and the estimates that we received, they were much higher than this. We've taken off a lot of things to get it down to this price.
And Roy, I looked at the foundation, I went by the property too, so I know some money is going into that, which is gonna cost a lot as well.
I mean, I'm for all this. I'm just thinking, as alderman, there's 3 houses in my ward that can, that this price could take care of 3,
Yeah.
But in any case, I appreciate your answer and thank you,
Yep, thank you.
Alderwoman, for your comments. Any more discussion?
How big is this house?
It's about 1,500 square feet.
And we're putting $280,000 in, wouldn't it be, what would be the price if we tore it down and built new?
That was a suggestion that we had to demo it. We hated to the owners, Growth International, if you want to come up here, Ken, and speak to that. That was a suggestion I made to them. They have another house on Edwards that we're rehabbing now to sell to a low-income family. It doesn't need nearly as much work as this, and it's $200,000 was the lowest bid. So, but if you want to talk about the option that, as far as demoing it.
Yes, there was consideration to demo it and build new. But at the time, we can get a real good price that would include the use of the home funds limitation or the budget for the home funds, and then try to rebuild anew. So it would come much more than both of those things combined. And that was just kind of what we came up with.
Anything else, Alderman Hanauer?
No, I just think that's kind of crazy. That's a lot of money for rehab for a 1,500 square foot home.
Alderman Redpath.
So is there any responsibility of the contractor to be able to show the money spent? Do you guys set that up?
Yes,
And
definitely.
how does that work? This is somebody overseeing this whole project?
Yes, they wouldn't, well, first when it'll go out to bid, so this is just an estimate off of the architect. Once it goes out to bid, then there'll be an itemized what everything costs, and as they're reimbursed, we go by that. So it has to match up.
I gotta go along with the group, it's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for a
We were
rehab.
shocked when we received the bid. We were like, what? Like,
Alderman Gregory?
Yes, I would agree it is a lot of money. I would ask, Mr. Porter, you guys, your organization is the only CHOTO in the city still left?
I believe so.
Right.
yes.
Yeah. I agree that it is, quite a bit much money, but considering you're the only CHOTO in town and that can use this specific funds, I think that we move forward. Definitely, you can understand how we want to do as much as we can with our limited funds. That's something that I've learned to do pretty well as trying to spread that money as far as possible. So, thank you. I appreciate you.
We're going to do everything that we can to, maybe get that below
The cost lower.
the final price.
Alderman Donnelly?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I pulled up on the Sangamon County parcel viewer that the fair market value of the property is $44,000.
Oh, wow.
Help me understand, again, I hate to be repetitive, but how is it economically a good idea for us to invest $280,000 in a $44,000 building? It will never, the assessment will never equal what we're putting into it.
Well, it's gonna be rented, so over time, they'll be able to bring in, hopefully, that much money, and then the money that they make goes back into their next project to be able to fund another home for a low-income family.
I think the cause and what you're trying to do is absolutely wonderful. I assumed, and I was going to ask out of the meeting, I assumed it was one of the commercial buildings along Lawrence, and when I learned it was a single family just now, it just raises flags.
I mean, we struggled with it as well when we got those prices back, but that's just what they're coming back at right now.
I'd like to put this on debate just so that we can think about it. I don't have a problem with what you're trying to accomplish. I'd like to just talk offline and learn a little bit more about this process.
Sure.
So thank you.
Thank you very much. So it's been properly moved and second to put this on debate. What we got? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Alderwoman.
I'm sorry, with Alderwoman Notariano.
Thank you, Chair. I would just like to say to the point of the fair market value versus this amount or any amount to rehab a house like this, there will be a huge difference. If you look at fair market value versus what houses are being sold for right now, there's a big disparity. So I understand that big gap is galling, but if you looked at another sample of properties, you would find very similar numbers. It's just how the market is right now.
Doesn't make it right.
So just the comment. So, I said earlier, my example was I could do 3 in my ward. So what's the particular area at Alderwoman that is kind of making a difference? Is it the type of homes over there, or is it something significant, historic, or what is it that's making it the way you're describing it?
Because there is a housing shortage and buyers are ready to spend whatever it takes to get into the neighborhood they want.
Thank you. Any more discussion?
Yeah, on your screen.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If I might, I'm going to ask Steve Parker to come up here.
Okay,
He's the
Director.
architect.
Okay.
And he can probably give a little more insight.
If I could just real quickly ask my question. Chair, I was next.
Oh, I'm
in line.
sorry. I'm not looking at the screen.
No,
I'm
you're
sorry.
not.
Yeah.
That's all right, I'll wave at you all day long, you know
All right,
that.
so we're going to do Alderwoman Conley, then we're going to do Alderwoman Purchase, and then we're going to go back to the director.
Thank you, Chair. And Shirley, maybe you could just kind of explain a little bit how these community housing development organization funds come into play, just because it's been a while since we've talked about those.
So, as an entitlement community, we get home funds annually, and a portion of those go to our CHODOs. That must be used for CHODO projects for housing development. And this is our only CHODO. This year, we received $500,000 in home funds, and then a portion goes to our CHODOs. Then we have carryover money from last year where it wasn't spent. So we had additional funds that they were able to spend this year.
Thank you. And so are we under a time limit for when we can spend these funds?
We are. We have to meet our timeliness. It'll come next spring that they're going to check and make sure that our funds have been spent.
And is there any consequences?
We can lose our funds. We've
You
actually,
can lose I was going to finish sentence real quick. See, look at you wanting to anticipate everything, right? But are there any consequences for future funding amounts if we don't spend everything down?
well, the
that
home
play
funds
out?
have been reduced. I don't know if that's because they hadn't been used in the last year or two.
Okay.
But they can be reduced if they're not spent.
And I understand it, and again, I do want to hear from the architect. I think that would help kind of understand a little bit more of what this was, but these aren't city funds, these are federal funds
Federal
through our,
funds, yes.
our housing funds that are, okay, thank you very much, I appreciate it. And then I see, Director, when you're finished, I know Ethan Posey is primed and ready to speak too.
I think he
so.
got a high estimate too, but yeah, these funds are specifically for low-income housing development to fill that gap in the city, so.
Yeah, very much.
So I'm going to have Alderwoman Purchase. I'm going to do the Alder people first, then I'm coming back. Alderwoman Purchase.
Thank you, Ms. Julia, for explaining that, because like you said, he's the only CHODO. So if our council was to vote it down next week, the money would just be sitting there too as well. And also, just for even more background, they had wanted to even do a duplex, and the amount was way higher too as well. So it's not like we can take it and put it in other wards. We gotta we can, but it has to be a certain area that they target. And to go off of Alderwoman Nutriano's comment about the housing market, even just over in Enos Park, you buy a house for $2,000, you put $125 in it. We just recently had a house sale for $220 over there. So when you do the maintenance, the TLC to it, it brings the value up a large amount. And with the housing market right now, things are selling for 2 to 3 times more. And just on drywall alone in that square footage home, you're looking at $11,000. Then tape and mud, you're looking at $6,000. Like just going off of projects that I'm in the middle of right now with that size of a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. And if you have to do foundation around a historical home, it just takes a little bit more. If you're trying to keep the siding to the wood siding, it's also extra funding too that would have to go into there. So the cost is just astronomical at this point. Thank you.
All right, no problem. Alderman Hanauer.
Real quick, so is there like any type of match that, that they have to do with this, or is it just, is it a 100% funding?
No, there's a 10% match. So they purchased the property initially, then they have a 10% match, and then their proceeds will go through to the next project.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, Director, we can come back to you now and your architect.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll bring the architect who can speak to the pricing
Well-
significance and how much we, I won't say fought, but pushed back on the initial bid. And that, again, you know, I'm glad to hear you're all paying very close attention to this. But this is a challenge that we're facing every day in economic development with these rising costs.
And we did do several different scopes of work to try and bring it in. You know, there's the ideal, and then there's the okay, and then there's let's just get it occupiable. So that's sort of where we've been heading. But I wanted to address the fair market value a little bit too, because fair market value right now is looking at a house that has no drywall, no pipes, no electrical, no furnace, no ductwork, no nothing. It's just studs and siding on the outside. And so it needs everything, windows, roof, and all of the infrastructure. And that's one reason why this one is so expensive. I mean, the alternative is to tear it down and leave an open hole. It's also right near the Dana Thomas house. So it's in a row of buildings, so it sort of completes a cityscape that's all of an era, so.
Hold up.
Alderman Redpath.
Sir, come on back up. So what's the value of the homes in the neighborhood?
I haven't done a market.
I mean, that's probably what the real question is, isn't it? If it's priced at 24 because it's studs and siding, that makes sense. But if the houses around it are valued at an enormous number higher than that, then it makes sense to invest the 218, what, 200, how much? 80. A lot of money though, but is that right?
I don't know what the value of the house is next to an R.
Do you got that on your screen, Jim?
No, I don't have it on my screen still, but I have a comment about that after you're done.
Well, that's the whole point. The point is if it's bringing it up to value of the neighborhood, that makes sense. If it's not, if it's gonna be the most expensive house in the neighborhood, then we got a problem. But my second question to this is probably for the director, is that, is this money only for rehabilitation, or is it possible to use it for tear down and rebuild new?
It could be used for both.
So is that an option for you?
Well, it was pretty expensive.
It's gonna cost us.
Well, I'm just throwing that out there. I didn't know. I wanted to ask that question.
We did offer that as an option, and I think he had to take it to his board, and his board chose to proceed with this
And
option.
it's not that I'm against the project, because we always want to rehabilitate anytime we can. I just want to make sure that we're getting the value of what we're investing here, and that's the most important thing for us. So we probably will get that information about the neighborhood within the next week. I know Alderman Donlin, he's pretty precise.
We can get that.
Thank you.
Okay. Who we got, you finished? Okay. Any more discussion?
We have Director Posey.
Oh, come on up. Sorry, sir, I didn't see you back there hiding.
He hides.
I just want to give a little bit more context. We talked about the housing market and things on different sides of the city. I'm currently trying to rehab a house that's in Ward 3, that's 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, with a whole lot more than just the studs. The estimate came in at $180,000. In order to tear it down and rebuild it, that's $250,000. For a lot less house than what Office of Planning and Economic Development is talking about here. The sad reality is yesterday's price is not today's price. And if we're investing in our neighborhoods, we're investing in apartment buildings that people can live in, we're investing in the homes that people can live in, that raises, health disparities, helps to mitigate those things, helps kids with education. There are a number of other factors that are at play when you're investing in property like this. I know you can look at the fair market value of what a house is or what the value that's estimated of the other houses in the neighborhood. But right now, the way the market is, regardless of what side of town you're on, regardless of whether you're paying with grant money or you're paying with money out of your own budget, the cost of materials, the cost of labor, especially right now when there's a time crunch and we have a limited number of contractors, period, to get things done, the price of everything is high. So I don't want you all to think that, I understand $280,000 is a high price, but in comparison to what we're dealing with trying to get rehab projects done across the board in all parts of the city, the sad truth is the prices have gone up. The price of concrete, the price of drywall, the prevailing wage that you have to pay to get the work done for people who are qualified to get it done. And I know it sounds like a lot of money. Trust me, I've been beating my head against the wall in my office, trying to get things done, trying to find a way to get the prices down. But like you said, this is the only Chodo that we have here in the city. And in comparison to what the original bid was, this is leaps and bounds lower. And I know for a lot less house, I'm working with almost the same pricing because that's just what the market is right now. So you can look at fair market value, but right now with the way things are going, that's not really giving you a true understanding and perspective on what the housing market is looking like in general. So take with that information what you will, but I just wanted to let you know in all areas like this, we are struggling and seeing high prices with bids, the cost of material, and the cost of labor, and that's on all sides of the city. I would advocate that we look at the fact that that's what the new normal is for pricing. We're looking at pricing that's gone up since the pandemic, and there's not the same amount of funding out here that we had in 2020 or 2021 or 2022, but that hasn't lowered the prices for what we need to do. That hasn't lowered the need for the community of what needs to get done. So again, you do with that information what you
Director, I
will.
think that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to understand what the complication is and every variable that we have to go up against. We want to know what the value is in the market. And we know that the prices are out. I build every day. I build all the time. And I know what the prices are. They went through the roof. And there's nothing we can do about that. And we want this type of project to come, but we want to make sure we're getting the value. And I think that's what the questions are all about.
And
we want to make this work.
And I completely understand that. What I'm saying is looking at the value of the other houses in the area may not give you an accurate perspective to assess the price that it's going to cost.
Well, there's more variables than just one, though. That's the point.
Absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely.
so we'll just have to agree that,
Well, Roy, you
and
got
share
over
the information.
$180,000.
You're out of order. Come on with you, Alderwoman.
Okay, I'm just doing a little searching here on the fly. And according to the Sangamon County parcel information, it sold in the year 2000 for $101,000. So we're not far out of the ballpark for what this property should cost. And it says the median listing price in this area is $179,000. I don't know that you're necessarily, like, I'm not gonna get comparables on this free realtor site, but, like, we're not outside of, this isn't as bad as it sounds, is what I'm saying. This price is not outside of, what you would see on a house like this. Yeah, so, I mean, I think what we really need to think about is ask ourselves why we're asking these questions when we're looking at this specific neighborhood and for this specific housing. And the fact that this is federal money and not Springfield money. And yeah, so that's it. Thank you.
Anybody else? Well, I'll just say, when the average citizen comes up here, we can't be talking 40 and 50. They got the same high prices, so just keep that in mind. The motion on the floor is for debate. No more discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
2024-333, an ordinance authorizing a subrecipient agreement with B Neighbors Affordable Housing for Veterans Incorporated for the construction of a learning, technology, and resource center located at 2835 Stanton Street for an amount not to exceed $400,000 for the Office of Planning and Economic Development.
Motion for consent.
Second.
It's been properly moved for for consent. Any discussion?
Motion for-
Alderman Gregory.
Motion for debate, sir.
Second.
Go ahead.
Oh,
I'm putting it on debate right now.
yeah, okay, so it's been properly moved and second for debate. Any discussion?
Yes. Harvey. So, I'll just, my first question will go to, Harvey, Mr. Hall. So we talked about this, we talked about this project 3 years ago.
Yes.
And
Been a long time.
it's been some time. So we had a task, I had a task for you.
Right.
And that was to go out into the community behind it, which is Stratford Place, and talk to that community and make sure they're okay with it and, get them to sign some petitions and things of that nature.
100 signatures.
Okay. Have we turned those in?
Yep.
Okay.
They on file.
All right. So what I want to do is I'm going to put this on debate so I can review those and make sure that we've talked to everybody. Debate doesn't mean I'm not going to pass it or we're not going to pass it or we're not going to vote on it. But I am going to put it on debate so I can make sure that I have a communication with that community. And I think that's only right to do to that community, right?
Alderman Sean Green.
Mm-hmm.
As you asked me to go out, matter of fact, you said you like to know what those, I'm kind of,
Individuals.
let me get it together. As you asked me to make sure that community was okay with the veterans' homes, me and other members of the veteran community got together, went out in that neighborhood, and got over 320-some signatures.
I understand.
Everybody over there signed their signatures. Matter of fact, you count them up, I bet you there ain't but 320-some people live out there. And every last one of them households signed our petition. We bought the petition here, we gave it to the secretary, and all that. I did as you asked. And also, you had a couple more things you asked me to do. And I got that accomplished too. See, being a Marine veteran, I get a mission, I'm going to accomplish it, right?
Absolutely.
And so I did everything you asked. And this whole city council voted 10 yes. It was a couple aldermen, wasn't aldermen back then. But we had 10 votes for everybody in here on the idea of the Veteran Community Center in the neighborhood over there. Where our own Sean Gregory was the alderman.
So all I'm saying is I got to put it on debate. I have to make sure of these things and talk with that community because I have had some calls and questions and I'm just not seeing this.
I'm curious of how are you is going to find out? You going to go back to every house I know?
No. They have a neighborhood association that meets on Tuesdays, and if I have to miss a city council or whatever the case may be, I want to go because I think people deserve.
I'd love to go with you.
Absolutely. No ifs and buts about it. In fact, that's ideal for us to go together to that community because today is the first time that we're revisiting this again, right? In 3 years, it's been 3 years, going on 4 years since we visited this project. We had to do those things. I asked you to do those things because of how the neighborhood was feeling. There was another project.
I came back with their feelings. They said yes.
Absolutely. So it's my job to make sure, though. I have to make sure that's a neighborhood over there. We just had another project over there.
But every veteran in Springfield right now is watching this.
I understand, and I respect our veterans, and I respect our community as well.
Do you know what our project about? Do you get a chance to read it?
That's why I'm asking for this to be put on debate, so I can go back through it, re-educate myself.
Right now.
But hear me out. This is why we get split as a community. This is not your fault or my fault. This is what I'm at. This is something I just spoke on before about our departments ensuring that we know what projects are coming forth in our ward when we're spending this type of money. So we can go out into our communities and make sure that everybody's going to be comfortable with what's coming their way. Because, you know why? because we have worked hard over there. I think we had this conversation. We have thousands of apartments over there that we've had to clean up.
You want to bring all 300 in this city, Chair?
Hear me? Absolutely. So then we'll know.
Then you'll be satisfied?
Absolutely, because I
Bring
have
300
to.
people in this city council, really.
I have to make sure that the community is going to be okay with that. I know the same people you know in that community, right? And I've talked to them, and they want to make sure that we come to their community and we explain to them and say, hey, this is what it's going to be, this is what it's about, da-da-da, you know?
When last time have you spoke to them?
Just yesterday.
They had a concern about this project?
They want to know what it is. They don't know.
They know what it is.
So
I knocked
listen,
on
so
their door.
hear me out.
One at a time, one at a time.
So in this process, right, when we use this type of funding, we put out a public notice. How many comments you got on it, Val?
On this particular one? No.
None, right? So that means nobody even knows that this was coming forth. I didn't even know. I didn't know to the day. I got your email that you sent me. I seen it on the agenda. I talked to Keisha about what was on her agenda, how we don't know about it. Earlier this year, we briefly discussed it. I said, yeah, I'm aware of the project. When the former mayor was in office, we had visited this.
Since you're not aware, since you don't remember the project.
I do remember
Okay,
it.
if I tell the rest of the city council
Absolutely.
what this project is about.
Can I just interrupt for 1 second? This project, to give the rest of them background, this project is funded through IDA for the tiny homes. We were just contributing at the city by doing this, what are we? Learning and Technology Center. So he's already been approved for funding through Illinois Housing Development Authority for the rest of the homes. I just wanted to make sure everybody knows that.
totally
I'm
understand.
sure you do, Alderman, but I just want to make sure everybody else.
So I'm just trying to do my job as an alderman to make sure that I'm not going to have a big blowback from a community with $200,000 homes in it. And that's just my job.
Each one of these homes costs approximately $187,000.
I
I
understand
have
that.
18 of them.
I understand that, but we still have to, there was another project that was trying to be done by some individuals in this room, and the community across the street definitely has some problems, and that project is not
I'd like to
going
address the
along.
city council, that's okay.
Absolutely. He the chair.
Chair, can I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead, Alderman.
So Val,
Yes.
based on what you just said, so it's just this resource and learning center that wouldn't go. The housing itself is going, right?
IDA
That
has
project's
approved
already approved.
Yes.
Have we approved that?
Have you taken any steps towards
Yes, planning,
the
the planning, we.
Planning and zoning.
We got
have you gotten
approved for planning.
permits yet?
We can't get permits till we start building, but we got, from the planning zoning, went through passage zoning, you guys approved with 10 votes, approved this project.
But my question is, are we putting the cart before the horse here? Should we get the houses first and then this?
I'm gonna explain to you. What she's trying to say is that this project consists of 18 single-dwelling homes, okay, with a learning technology resource center. The 18 single-dwelling homes is funded by IDA already with approximately $4,800,000, all right? IDA will not fund housing, will not fund anything other than housing. This is a learning technology center. So when we first got through, our first time we went through, they wanted to fund us $4,800,000. I decided to talk to the team. We didn't want just the houses by themselves because we recognize housing alone is not the solution to homelessness. They need technology training resource center where they have these services on site. If you look at the poster, did they get a poster?
No.
Did they get a poster?
No.
You pass it around. If you look at this site here, you will see the 18 center. You'll see learning technology center. Right there in the middle.
I think you brought this to us before. Yeah.
I think I've seen it. My question though is he got to come back through for the housing portion?
Thank you.
The housing portion. I mean, they have to
Just
come through
everything.
permitting and do all of that.
But do
yes.
they have to come back through council?
Not-
No.
no, with
houses
I-
doesn't have to
not
come
with
back through
IDA
council.
funding.
It's already been approved
Okay.
by the city
The
council to do this building, do this project. And what I was explaining to you, that IDA is funding the 18 single dwelling homes. We're standing before you today as the city council to fund only the Learning Technology Resource Center. Because like I said before, I was watching the meeting last week when Josh Sable was up here, and Lakeisha Percy has a question, Roy Williams had a question, even Sean Gregory had questions about the homelessness in their neighborhood. You know, so this, and they kept asking about the mental patients and all of that. This Learning, Training, Technology Resource Center will assist, provide mental health services. It will provide, teach them how to maintain self-sufficiency, teach them how to keep home stability. All of this, they get inside this center. And what we did with this center, we go so far as name it a building with no walls, which meaning that in time of, say we have another
Big storm.
come through, and all of a sudden, veterans can't get to the center. We have a monitor inside each room where they can still receive services from that center on spot, and it's nothing mandatory. One thing like Josh Sable said is that the boundaries in order to get into these homes are so high, some people can't get into them. We at B Neighbors made our boundaries so low. Every veteran with a DD 214 form is able to get inside these houses. And not only get inside the houses, but have this services from the Learning Technology Resource Center. So we're not asking the city to pay for any houses. We is asking for the Learning Technology Resource Center.
I understand that, but my question was, if, let's just say, for some reason this doesn't go, the housing portion has already been approved.
Right.
So we don't have to act on that.
Right.
So it's going, it's going, right?
No. This was going on with that, is that, see, when IDA fund money, they'll fund 90% of the project. The project costs $5.2 million. So they're gonna furnish $4.8 million of that 5.2. All right? So the city show that they got interest in it by providing other money for the Learning Technology Resource Center. See what I'm saying? So if this don't go through,
It's a package.
yeah, so if this don't, so if the city don't go through with IDA, the whole project don't go together.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Alderman Redpath.
So, Mr. Hall, I'm not speaking for Alderman Gregory, but I'm speaking as a veteran too, because I don't think you're going to have much opposition from the city council on things to do with veterans. I'm a 30-year veteran myself.
Hoorah.
And the bottom line is this, there's a process that we go through, and I think what he's trying to say is he just wants to clarify a few things, but I really think the support's here for this project, but Alderman Gregory, just like the rest of us, want to make sure that they got their T's crossed and their I's dotted and make sure everything's okay. So don't get discouraged that he put it on debate, because that's just a process, a part of this process that works. And I'm personally in favor of this project, and I'm going to vote for it, but he just is looking to be able to go ask some questions and clarify a few things. But I think if you guys get together and talk, I think it's going to get worked out, okay? All right.
Thank you.
Alderman Gregory.
So my question, is this going to be veterans only, or is it going to be, see you spoke on something, and this was the contention last time, right? It was whether it was going to be homeless individuals that we were trying to place in these homes, or was it going to be veterans? And we spoke on how there was only one undocumented veteran. So the gentlemen that you brought in, they all have homes. I know a few of them. So I don't have a problem with individual tiny homes, but I'm telling you, that community will kill me if I put the wrong thing over there. Trust me.
Well, the
So
community
I should
agreed.
have the right, and we should have the right to go to our community. It's our
I'm willing to
community.
go back out there again.
And make sure that they know what's coming to them and
I
what
would
we're
love
gonna
to go
do.
back out there with you again.
All right.
And we go to the neighborhood meeting, like you said.
Okay.
Together.
All right.
And address the people there.
Yes, sir.
But this place here is for homeless veteran only. You said there's only one documented homeless veteran, right? You show me a veteran that's homeless, is willing to admit that he's homeless. We have too much pride to say that we're homeless. So we're not gonna go down there and get that service.
Okay.
Me, Archie Ford, and Deacon down at Salvation Army, we go out on foot patrol. We go find homeless people. That would lead me to this project. When I walked behind Shell's gas station on South Grand and saw this veterans back there talking on the phone with his son. I said, what? I said, excuse me. He said, let me get done with this conversation. He got done talking to his son. He said, I got to keep my phone charged because my son keep calling me. And these people let me charge my phone up. And I said, what's going on? He said, I'm homeless. He want to stay with me. I ain't got nowhere for him to stay, the whole thing, right? And that sparked a fire in me. And after walking around, I found 6 more veterans. Guess how you know veterans? You have to be a veteran, know a veteran. Somebody, they stand out on a sign waving they're a veteran. 9 out of 10, they're not a veteran. You talk to a veteran, you'll know if you're a veteran or not. So the need for this project is Didi.
I totally understand where you're coming from. Let me tell you something personal. My auntie, who was homeless, just died. We just found out she just died, right? So I totally am for shelter for those on the streets who don't have it. I'm totally for it, right? But there's a way that we have to do things. There's a respect that I have to give
I
to
understand what you're
communities.
saying. Being the alderman over there, you have to go through this process.
You've seen what we
'Cause you
went
don't
through.
But that's why I did like you asked. I went and I did that. That's why I'm willing right now. After listening to you talk, I understand. I listen to Mr. Redpath. I understand that this is something that you have to. This is your community. They look for you to do the right thing over there.
All right,
Am I right or wrong?
Let's get together and we'll go.
Let's do it soon.
Well, I appreciate y'all
That's the
coming
way
to
to do
that
it.
agreement. Alderwoman Conley.
Thank you. I'm sorry, one more question. I'm sorry, sir. Just real quickly, I just want to be very clear. The center that you're talking about is that supportive function and supportive housing.
Right.
So this is the part that, because it's one thing to get someone into a house, but to keep them, as you said, and I'm sorry, I'm kind of reiterating you said it, but what this is commitment from the city is that part of this community-based housing where you provide, yes, training, but also those other kind of non-tangible supports where people are someone's checking in on them.
Yes.
This is what you're talking about, okay. And I'm sorry, did you say medical also?
No.
No medical, okay, but it is more that practical hands-on, and then if there is like a major weather event, you can still have check-ins and communications with the people who are living in the homes.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you very much. I just want to make sure I was clear on that. Thank you.
Here ain't no more discussion. The motion's for debate. All in favor signify by saying aye.
2024-334, an ordinance authorizing a contract with Intervision International Incorporated for training and materials on the new conversation program involving bias and community relations training in an amount not to exceed $68,996 for the Springfield Police Department.
Motion for consent.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second for consent. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2024-335, an ordinance accepting quote number 2715843 and authorizing purchase of Motorola radio equipment and services from Motorola Solutions in an amount not to exceed $191,631 for the Springfield Fire Department.
Move for consent.
Second.
Second.
Properly moved in second for consent. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2024-336, an ordinance authorizing payment in the amount of $44,734.94 to Corrine Settles, a Public Works employee, for settlement of workman's compensation claim for case number 24-WC-004323.
Move to consent.
Second.
Been properly moved in second for consent. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2024-337, a resolution for the designation of Laurel Streets from Glenwood Avenue to Walnut Street as Blessed Sacrament Way for the Blessed Sacrament Church.
Motion for consent.
What?
It's been properly moved and
Daydreaming.
second for consent. Any discussion?
Yes, I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor. please.
Noted.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I do have something. Yeah, I would just like to say that this is in honor, oh, it says here, the 100th anniversary of Blessed Sacrament Church being open. So I'm really happy and very thankful for the folks at Public Works for getting this set up, and hopefully we can get that street sign set up in time for the September 14th centennial. I really appreciate everyone's hard work on this. Thank you.
Okay. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2024-338, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of 7 police interceptors in the amount not to exceed $401,446 from Dana Safety Supply Incorporated for the Springfield Police Department.
Consent.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second to send this to consent. Any discussion? Hearing none, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2024-339, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of 13 police interceptors in the amount not to exceed $672,020 from Morrow Brothers Ford Incorporated for the Springfield Police Department.
Move for consent.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Unfinished business. Any alderman got any, or woman have any unfinished business? Alderwoman Norteriano.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just a couple of things. Just a friendly reminder for everyone to not blow their grass clippings into the sidewalk or street. It's very dangerous. And then also another very friendly reminder that if you live in a home where you have an alley, regardless of how tall your privacy fence is back there, that is your responsibility to keep up with that alley. All the weeds and brush and things that are growing behind your fence is a homeowner's responsibility and not the city's responsibility. So that completes the friendly reminders portion of this. And I just have a couple of questions probably for Public Works regarding demolitions and our vacant properties list.
Director Fuchs, if you can come up, please.
Wasn't trying to break any records.
I'm trying to rush.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so I was just curious, I haven't seen the vacant properties list. Is that something that we do put on the public-facing website?
Not on a regular basis, but I could get it for you very
Okay.
easily if you'd like that.
Yeah, I just like to see that, and I was just wondering how up-to-date it was, and then also, does that include commercial properties?
Generally not, but I'd have to take a look. There's 35, I believe, on there right now, and then there's another 20 or 25 that we are considering, so.
Oh, okay.
It's a
So,
long list, and it gets longer all the time.
yeah, only 35, that's surprising. So what criteria is it, so it's not just vacant properties, is there another?
There is a long list of difficulties that are associated with these properties. Remember, these are primarily private properties.
Okay.
So there is a very long process of complaints and inspections that go along with it.
Okay, so this doesn't capture our properties that are vacant, that are being kept up with?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay. I'll talk to you about that offline. I thought we had something in code about tracking vacant properties. Okay, and then update on our demolitions. Could you fill us all in on the demolitions for this season?
Well, we let the contract, and the response that we had was incomplete, so we had to let it again. I think we just put that out.
Mm-hmm. And so do we expect to have any demolitions completed this season?
This season, absolutely.
Okay, okay. wonderful.
Would you like to come and watch one of them get knocked down?
Yeah, hopefully one a couple blocks away from me.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll see about that one, but the first one we take out, I will invite you personally.
Okay, great. And another thing, I'll ask you about this offline. That's it. Thank you.
Are you finished, Alderwoman?
Yes.
I learned that from the mayor. So, Alderwoman Purchase.
You skipping?
Oh, I'm sorry, Alderman Gregory, go ahead.
I just want to say real quickly, this is probably new business, or, no, this is unfinished business. Alderwoman Conley that speaks on, I said Alderwoman, I'm trying to make sure now, I don't want no trouble.
That's good.
Traffic, and this is really to our community. Some of us might need to go back to driving school. Yellow means slow down, not rush the lights. And I say that as I'm coming down Monroe from work one day, and the light is clearly red and it's going yellow, and I happen to be next to one of the Massey family members going home, and had she not been paused as thinking, she would have got toe off, at these intersections. And much of our problem is people in a rush. I think we just all need to slow down, and that's to our community, not to us, because of course we don't speed. But yellow means slow down at those lights, and my son's just starting to drive. I know some of us have that, and one of the things I'm teaching them is take about 3 seconds even after it's green. People behind you, let them honk at you all you want, because we have a really, really bad problem in this city with people trying to make that yellow light, and we can wait a few moments. So. Real quickly, I just want to, speak on, we did have a good meeting with Chief Scarlett over different topics and videos that have come to our attention in the community. So I just wanted to say that publicly, as it was brought to us publicly. We had fruitful conversations on some things that, from a law enforcement's perspective, that they believe that we can work out, and from a community aspect of what we want to look for to continue to do. We'll continue to have those conversations. We'll continue to make sure that any issue that's brought to us, we push the process out, and have truthful and good conversations. So I appreciate Chief and his staff for allowing us to have that conversation, even uncomfortable conversations, and we're going to continue to do those things. So I appreciate it. I just want to update our council on those conversations as well as the public. Thank you.
Are you finished, Alderman Gregory?
I am.
Alderwoman Purchase.
I know Madam Mayor does that to me. She said, Alderwoman Purchase, you don't have any announcements. But I do want to take a moment to thank, I have one of my MPOs here in the room, Officer Davis, and Officer Davis did a great job this weekend. Along with my other MPOs, we had our Vinegar Hill neighborhood block party, and all of our first responders participated in yoga, which was relaxation, but it was a great turnout. And then thank our SIU School of Medicine students. We had over 100 students that came out, and we walked every block, every alley, and we cleaned up. And my zoning manager, Brady, he did a phenomenal job. And this is just what community looks like, the engagement that went on with our officers at the doors, the students getting to learn how we had open abandoned houses, and we were able to look in them so that they could see what we do every day. So I thought that was important, and it was great for the community to see, and I just wanted to thank you all for that. And then lastly, still continue to commend our police department for staying on top of 5th and North Grand. This morning, it was about 30 individuals at maybe 7:30 out there. That's a lot. They were hanging in the parking lot, and then we just had an incident that happened on Sunday morning. So I want to reiterate that we're working hard, and we have some things coming forward to the community that's constantly calling every day, asking, can you get them moved along? Can you get them from out in the street? There are things coming forward to address these issues. Thank you.
Are you finished?
I am.
Thank you. Redpath. Oh, he's military. Yeah, okay. Alderman Redpath.
Call me Chief. I want to concur with Alderman Purchase on that. I got texts and emails at my house about the 5th and North Grand problem, so if we could work on that, that'd be great. I got a email from Dan Shields. He's the pastor at Cotton Hill United Methodist Church, and I don't know if this goes to the CWLP or for the fire department, but the fire hydrant across the street from them has been out of service for over a year, and it's posted that it's out of service. Could somebody check that and see if we can get it back up to speed?
Yeah, actually, I don't need it at the podium, but if you've got the address.
I'll just give it to you.
Yep. We'll take care of that.
There's that one.
Thank you.
Then the next problem I got is, this is for the CWLP director. You don't have to come up, you can just listen. But for about 2 years, I've been talking to you about electricity down at Mariner Point. We've had problems on Island Bay about partying late in the night, and this is a direct for the chief of police too, because we need to get some patrols down there. We shut down the gates down there at about 10 o'clock at night, and because we try to let the fishermen go in there, and then they congregate outside the gate, and the music's banging and rattling people's doors off. So if we can get an increased patrol down on Island Bay, down by Mariner Point, that would be great. And then, Director, we talked to Scott Rogers has talked about putting power down there so we could get some cameras down there for our security team. Would you please follow up on that and get back to me? Thank you.
If I could just speak to that real quick, Alderman. I know that our newly promoted neighborhood police officer who's in charge of the lake area, they had some good conversations with the neighbors down there. We have worked with CWLP to get lighting up there, gates, extra patrols and whatnot. So I'll follow up with them.
I'll give you this one, and this is Eric Hiller, who lives down there.
Yep, perfect.
Thank you. And then I was gone for a week or so up visiting my father-in-law, but bottom line is that I know everybody got to hear it last week about the firefighters test, and I don't know what the deal is with that, but I've had several calls on it. And if we got a solution, or if we're doing something about the test, I know we had problems with the police a while back about some of the qualifications for their testing, and it was fixed. So is there a glitch, or what's going on? If you can tell me, please.
Personality test.
We'll meet in the middle, we'll discuss together.
I don't think we have a problem with the test. I think we have a really good test. I did pull data based on what was asked. I got the last of it right before I came. So I've got an email, but I thought it was rude to send it while you were here. So I will send it out to you tomorrow morning. So we have spent a lot of time talking about the test.
The good thing with the voices who've raised concerns is it has allowed us to look into this and verify that this test company is legitimate, that they are using national standards, and what the test yielded is true information.
Well, let me give you this email, because some of the questions that were asked on the test seem a little different. And you take that one, you guys can look at it. But obviously there was concern. I heard that somebody addressed the council last week, and I just wanted to bring it up because when I got home, my phone was full.
Yep, yeah, no, we've been meeting and going over things and looking into it.
I did print out, so if anybody is like, so eager to look, I do have what I'm going to send in the email. So if you'd like a copy, I did bring.
That's all I'm asking you to do is just take a look at it.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
That's all I got, sir.
Thank you, sir. Alderman Rockford.
Doug, this is for you if you want to come up. If not, could you find out and tell me what's going on out in the Walnut Valley subdivision with their electricity? I get calls once a week, twice a week for outages. My understanding is there's some equipment needs to be replaced, and whether it's pricing or whatever. But could you please check into that? And
Where's that exactly? Walnut Valley?
Walnut Valley's just north and east of the airport out there.
Okay. I can look into that, yep.
Thank you. I'm done.
Thank you. Alderman Hanover.
I've got a quick question for probably Corporation Counsel, but I want to make sure we had the discussion about when we go out, our inspectors now go out for lawn issues, that we write a ticket and they pay that it's like a parking situation where they can come to admin court and show that they did it, but they still have to pay the ticket. Is that correct? And if not, if whatever we have to do to get that started, I still, and we all have people in our wards that will not cut their grass, and it's just a game they play. And until we start hitting them, they're going to continue this. And next spring, everybody knows that the grass is growing. There should be no warnings. It should be, we go out, measure, send them a ticket. And it's just like a parking. If I run out and feed the meter or move my car, they don't let me out of that ticket. So I want to make sure that we are obeying that, and Public Works is actively ticketing, and we're not letting people off, because enough's enough.
We are pursuing it in that manner. After your direction, I will send you a breakdown of the procedure of what we do.
Okay, thank you.
So my question is the judge the one dismissing it?
No, I just
Because
want to
they
make sure
show
we're
up
doing
and
it.
it's cut?
I just want to make sure that we are issuing the tickets, is what my question was.
You're on the issue.
I don't want the
Okay.
judge, now, to me, if they got pictures and they got grass as tall, admin court should not release it.
Okay.
They should not let them off of it. And I want to make sure that that doesn't happen either, because this is the only way we're going to get people to mow, and mow, more often. Because as we all know, what happens is they'll wait until it's 18 inches tall, and we have to send them a letter, and they'll wait another week, and then they may cut it just so they don't get another letter. But until we start fining them, and we fine them right away so that they know they're going to get a fine, that's the only way we're going to solve this problem. And I think that, we shouldn't give any more warnings. Everybody knows the grass grows in April. And so, they just have to understand that when we go out, if they're in violation, they're going to get a ticket. And I guess we really need to look at the structure of, you have someone that continuously violates. Do we have a progressive ticket structure? And so, thanks, Greg.
Alderwoman Conley.
Thank you. I'm going to slightly piggyback off of Alderman Hanauer, but just to remind Corporation Council, I also do want to make sure that we get updates to our kind of native landscaping requirements and ordinance, because I do agree, we see them all over the place, people who just let kind of icky lawns grow out of control. But we also have people who put a lot of time and thought into native plantings that might not always look like a manicured lawn, but it does have a function, it does have a place. So we need to make sure that we have a consistent and clear policy so that people, because I agree with Alderman Hanauer on the ticketing for the overgrown lawns, but I also want to make sure that we have protection for those people who've taken that time and effort to do that native landscaping. So and I know you've had a full plate, so just want to put this back, make sure it's on at least the appetizer part of the plate.
How do we differentiate on that? Because I have a
That's
couple of
exact-
homes.
that's
I mean, how do we
exactly
do,
it.
I mean, do we have to do an ordinance, or how do we decide?
Well, so we do have an ordinance on the books, but what I would like to see is an enhancement of that. So there are, you can have native identified plants and species. There are organizations that can do certifications of that. There are certain plants that meet it. Just having tall grass is not a native planting. That's not, right, but there absolutely are criteria that other communities use for that. And fortunately, we have a Corporation Council who has experience with that. And again, it's just one of the things, I know the many things on your plate, but it just is a reminder for that.
That's right, and until we get that worked out, we still are bringing these cases to our administrative court, and so if somebody can show and prove that they haven't native grass, you can usually tell, and so we still have that process in place, but we will prepare that ordinance.
Thank you very much.
Okay. If there's no more unfinished business, any new business? Anybody with new business? Wow, here we go, let's see. Is that old Conley?
No, I'm old.
You're finished? Okay.
I'm done, I'm old.
So we'll start with Alderwoman Purchase.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to acknowledge our Office of Planning and Economic Development. Ms. Julia did an interview yesterday, and so did I, on the lead abatement program, and received numerous calls. We have a lot of funds available that we do need to use, so I'm encouraging all of my colleagues to push that program out into your area, especially if homes was built before 1978. I learned a fun fact that 62703, we have the largest lead paint throughout the state of Illinois. And we're in Springfield. So we're superseding our big city of Chicago with lead paint, and just acknowledging for people in their homes to not feel afraid to call us for help to come out and test, because no one thinks when you buy and purchase a home, let me go in and test my paint on the wall. You don't find out until a child is sick, and then IDPH comes in, Illinois Department of Public Health, to come in and test your walls after those walls have been disturbed. So just encouraging us all to promote this program out so that we don't lose any funding. It hadn't been used in a while. And a big kudos to our department, because now she's been asked to come and present in front of HUD, and we may be best practice because they haven't had any of these type of training programs throughout the state. So I just wanted to say thank you, and I will be continuing to help promote the program, especially in my ward with the older neighborhoods.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alderwoman Notariano.
Thank you, Chair. I was wondering if there was anyone who could speak to the 1908 press conference that's going to happen on Friday at 10. I got a meeting invite today, but just a meeting invite.
Disco.
So the White House had asked us to put together something for this Friday, and we're going to do it at 10 o'clock. We've invited several people. White House is not coming, nobody from their representation. We're going to do it at the site for the CAP 1908, or for the 1908 race riot, and it'll be at 10 a.m. this Friday.
So if there are people who would like to attend and this doesn't work for their schedule, is there any flexibility, or did the White House say it's got to happen on Friday?
This was the day that we had agreed with them that we're going to do it.
Okay, gotcha. All right, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Alderman Donlin.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Like a fine wine that ages, we have one of our members of this fine horseshoe who has a birthday coming up, and I just want to wish Alderman Larry Rockford a happy birthday tomorrow.
He said you fine as wine. Aging fine like wine.
And that is all, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Gregory.
Well,
Short.
All right. A couple things. I too am happy to hear that information. I did send an email for some information before I took that interview because I wanted to know what I was talking about. I am happy to hear about the certifications and now how many are working for the city for us. I believe, Julia, you said 33 got the certification. How many working for us?
33. So we have, as of today, we have 3 lead abatement contractors.
Right.
All minority that are able to bid on projects.
Right.
And then so now they have a trained workforce that they can hire.
Okay, can you talk to me about the other?
Come up.
Yes, please. I'm sorry. Thank you, Rob. Can you talk to me about the other 30 and what is it? Is it something holding them back from working for us, or have they just took the course and said we don't want to work, or?
No, in order to bid on the projects, you have to be a licensed lead abatement contractor. Then they hire workers and licensed supervisors. So the 33 participants, all 33 received their lead worker certification. 30 took a third-party exam and received their lead supervisor license.
They all got RRP certification. EPA RRP certification. And now these contractors are able to hire them. They wouldn't have had a workforce to hire in Springfield.
Right.
Now we have 3 contractors and they have a workforce they can hire.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. Now, I was told by some of those who went, they didn't make it because of like child support and things like that. Is that
Not
true?
true. We didn't,
Okay.
we didn't check anything like that.
No, I'm just saying from the program or the grant that it was.
No,
Okay.
we don't look at
Okay.
anything like that.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you. I appreciate you. Good work. My second, I would echo, the press conference is Friday for the 1908 race riot monument announcement. We all are very proud of that. Even some of us who have been working, for a long time to see that, and even before I even sat up here. And, all I would like to see, Chair, and those who would care, is that we make sure that we don't miss anybody on this important invite, right? There's some people that wasn't included in the email that have been a big part of pushing the narrative of the importance of the 1908 race riots in different groups. And I think that is important. And I think for us to cut anybody out for any reason is sad, and we should not do that. And we have to make sure that everybody who has something to do with it, because, this happened now, but it's been, I've been here 6 years. It's probably been about 15 years of people pushing. I know one group, advocated to push the tracks 11 inches, 10 inches to the east so we can preserve these sites and things of that nature. We want to make sure we hit everybody. I know everybody's excited and want to, puff their chest out, but I think we got to make sure that we include those who from the community have been fighting a long time. Mr. Leroy Joy is not even here to see it, but there is others, that we want to make sure. So that's my spiel. I made it short as I could.
All right, thank you. Citizens, any citizens to address?
Alice Ramey.
No, citizens. Come on up, Alice. Come. Yeah, come and talk to your favorite alderman. Yeah, okay.
A couple of years ago.
We have a little problem with landlords out of the state buying homes that are not registered, okay? And that are trying to get out of one part of their contract to go into a different part of the contract because some of the houses are under Section 8 that they buy. And according to what I know about Section 8, once you buy a house and it's settled, and whatever you put in that contract is supposed to be in that contract, and that's what Section 8 goes by. I may be wrong on some of that because I haven't messed with Section 8. There's a lady that lives on Monroe Street, has lived in this house for 25 years, raised her kids, raising her grandkids, and the owner of the house sold it to a company named Wise Investment out of Ohio. And what I have in front of me is a contract that they want her to sign, and which would take effect in June of 1st on 2024. And it says that the agreement is a 30-day written notice. It's rented every day. The rent for the premises is $1,050, $1,500. The house is not worth that, okay, per month. And she wants to $600 per month, 11 months, May 1st of 25, which time the rent will increase and Springfield Housing current rate. Okay, that's what's in this contract. There's some other things. She wants to have somebody pay $50 for her pet. She's got 5. And she wants to pay a deposit of $600. She's never paid a deposit on this house since she's been in it, and she's never had to worry about having a deposit for the pets. And the guy that sold it had it for 20 years, and another guy had it for 5 years before he sold it to this guy. I do believe it's time we have it registered. And I know that a lot of you people are not for it, including Purchase, if she buys houses outside, or anybody else. I mean, she looked at me kind of funny, so that's why I said it. But it's the idea that we really do need it. We need it to make these people be accountable, just like you want to make accountable for the grass and for the other things, and the grass going into the streets. We need to make these people accountable for what they're doing to people. And I know that she's going to housing tomorrow to talk about it, but I think everybody should know what they're trying to do. And if you want a copy of this, the young man behind you.
Betsy gets a copy of it.
I will take that, and I will bring it to my office, and my office coordinator, Sean, will look into that issue for her. As far as the Section 8 housing goes, that would be under HUD and Springfield Housing Authority. We don't actually, as a city, have any authority over the Section 8 housing, but we will look into this issue.
I appreciate it.
And we'll make sure we will reach out to her tomorrow.
Because you know I will investigate.
I know, look, you know, my office is right there in Ward 3 too, you know, we're right down the street. I promise you, we will look into it tomorrow.
All righty, thank you, Vic.
What about the one in Ward 2?
Just let me know, just
Alderwoman Purchase.
I just want to be clear since Ms. Alice pointed out about me being against it. So tomorrow I meet with the Realtors Association and the Landlord Association, and we're working together. So I just want to let you know, while you're trying to tell people that I'm against it, you're incorrect.
Well,
I'm working
sorry I
to
said
bring
that.
everybody
I'm
to the
glad,
table.
Because a lot of people were against it for a long time because they didn't want to take time to do it.
Mhm.
And it needs to be done, very much so.
Thank
because
you.
People are getting away with a lot of stuff.
All right,
Motion for executive session to do.
cancel.
No, hold on.
2C11 litigation.
Second.
You didn't ask if anybody else had to.
Yeah, well, he jumped the gun, that's why I didn't ask. Is there any other citizen that would like to address the council? Please come forward.
I just saw you jump up, Don. so
This is just very quick. This is Don Hanrahan, Pleasant Plains, Illinois. This is a regional issue that we heard about just yesterday, and that is that the city is in discussions with Emberclear Lincoln Land Energy Corporation for the acquisition of electricity purchases. We don't know, I don't know what that means. There's a lot of reasons to be concerned about getting involved with Emberclear, not the least is that their investors have to be nervous as all get out because they have to recover their $1.5 billion investment by 2032, or they have to prove that they're going to capture 90% of the carbon by then. So in March, they put out a proposal for people to buy energy from this proposed plant that was supposed to have broken ground in 2019, and it's been held up by all kinds of problems. Anyway, the reason that they did that is because their investors must be nervous. That's how I read it. And they have more reason to be nervous now because the regulations changed from, I think, for a private equity-owned utility from 2040 to 2032, that they have to be able to capture the carbon. And if they're going to do that, if they are going to be able to successfully do it, which is also a big question mark, it's going to cost a lot of money, more than the $1.5 billion. So I'm just saying, before any agreements or commitments or discussions are had, just be careful that you're not getting involved with something that we should steer clear of. And, I don't know a whole lot about this, I admit it, but there are people who do. And one of the things that just hearing about this, the way it came about, brought up to me is, can we have public quarterly or every other month meetings of a Public Utilities Committee of this organization? I know it's been talked about, and we still haven't done it, but this would be the ideal type of thing to come up and let the public know we're thinking about doing something like this. What are the pros? What are the cons? And that's all I'm going to say. Thank you for listening to me again.
Thank you, sir.
I will just real quickly, Chair,
Sure.
point out, first of all, this is a power plant that hasn't been built yet. And yes, I see my co-chair Redpath has left, but we are working on getting a date very, very soon so that we can have a utilities meeting. I think the big complication was trying to get that outside of a regular committee of the whole. So we'll probably just connect that to a regular committee of the whole so that we don't have to try to find a time for everyone to get another meeting scheduled during a weeknight. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Exec session?
Yes, we still need it under 2C11 litigation.
Okay.
Let's have a,
You have a motion from Alderman Hanauer. You don't have.
Second gets
Thank
moved.
you.
We're going. Thanks for that, Mr. Clerk.
time is now 7:27. All mics are hot and everything is being broadcast.
Just go.
Where'd the chair go?
I ain't got no map chair. Okay. He might have to run to the restroom.
Better have been an emergency.
Come on, chair. I ain't got to sit down.
Chair, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move. Second.
And now you cheated.